Barcelona. Antonio Gaudi's final civic work, built between 1906 and 1912. Casa Mila, named for its patron, Per Mila i Camps. Sometime around 1910, Senor and Senorita Mila paid a visit to the site of their new house. The story goes that they were torn between fury and despair. The Casa Mila, which was supposed to be to the greater power and glory of the Milas, was immediately given a derogatory nickname by the townspeople of Barcelona, La Pedrera, the quarry. People were rather puzzled by this structure, built on the corner of one of the wealthiest avenues in the city. Gaudi would not be held to time nor to budget, but obstinately pursued eccentric artistic options. He angrily imposed his will. He passed his time in wielding civil and divine threats, evoking both lawsuits and the Last Judgment. He refused all discussion. Yet he had a very high reputation in Barcelona. The enlightened upper middle class appreciated his parks and palaces, and the clergy his monasteries and religious buildings. Nevertheless, the house he built for them was hardly finished before the Milas found that it was quite simply horrid. What happened? Is there really an architectural intelligence behind this plastic delirium that some considered to be pure eccentricity? In 1860, the Cerda Plan, named after its author, was a town planning scheme to redesign and enlarge the city of Barcelona. Main thoroughfares were created, new avenues crisscrossing at right angles like Spanish garrisons. On one side of these wide, straight avenues, going right through the city from the center to its outer limits, Gaudi, breaking all the rules in force, set a wall on a soft slant instead of an angle. With this facade, he pushed the destructuration of an architecture based on line and right angle to its very limit. Gaudi, with his passion for anatomy, thought of his building as a body covered with a skin. The columns were to be the building's skeleton, the stone its flesh. The columns, dressed in stone, rise up 6 stories to the attics. These columns bear the weight of the building. This facade is not a load-bearing wall, but just a curtain wall inserted between the metallic elements that project from the main girders. There was nothing more to do than to fill up the spaces between the columns. Gaudi could add or subtract the blocks of stone as he liked, creating huge windows, 150 in all, and immense balconies. The facade could be adjusted at will. It could be sculpted, twisted, made to ripple in a continuous movement that gives the impression that the whole mass rides along in its own undulating rhythm. The facade of the Casa Mila became a piece of sculpture. The balustrades of the balconies are made from scrap iron. Not the usual material for a luxury building. This was in 1910, and we can feel a premonition of abstract art in these shapes, as well as a blend of archaism and modernism. Gaudi maintained that he sought his inspiration in the observation of nature. Gaudi did not neglect the rear facade, even though it would only be seen by the neighbors. Serpentine balustrades, the facade rendered in a mixture of chalk and cement, color. But behind the work of art, there was the schedule of requirements of the promoters. The Milas engaged Gaudi to design a building for them that, apart from their own residence, had to include some 20 flats to rent, parking space, attics, a terrace. How was this impressive mass to be converted into a living space, open to the light of day?